If you've got 30 minutes, then let's practice. Grab your mat and let's go. Whether you're new to yoga, traveling, or just can't make it to your favorite studio today, all you need is some space to move around. This fundamentals practice will stretch, strengthen, and then relax the body. So let's get started. With your eyes closed, allow your breath to just slow down. Begin to notice how your inhales and exhales move through your body. Your chest gradually rising and falling, and then your belly gradually moving in. Nice, slow breath. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, draw your hands to heart center. And then we'll get started. You can allow the legs to come behind you. We'll start in a child's pose. Hips drawing back towards the heels, and arms reaching out in front of you. Allow the head just to rest down towards the floor.
Heaven-bound plane is flying. Heaven-bound plane is flying. Heaven-bound plane is flying. Heaven-bound plane.
From your child's pose, we're going to move into a tabletop, allowing the hands to plant right underneath the elbows, right under your shoulders. And then start to round your spine and drop your belly for a cat-cow motion. Continue with your breath, rounding the spine and then dropping the belly and lifting the chest. This movement might start small, but it will gradually get larger as the spine just continues to warm up. We'll begin some hip circles, shifting your hips right, back behind you, around toward the left, and then sliding the hips forward. Continue in this clockwise motion. Hips right, back, around to the left, and forward. Again, the motion might get a little bit larger as you continue with these circles. Coming back through center, we'll switch directions. We'll move counterclockwise, sending the hips left, back behind you, around to the right, and then forward. Again, continuing this pattern, counterclockwise motion of the hips, gradually getting larger with the next couple of breaths. Coming back to center, round the spine once more. This time, hover the knees away from the mat about 1 to 2 inches. Then drop back into a child's pose, hips back to heels, arms reach out. Find your breath. Inhale, glide forward. Once more, lift the knees away from the mat, rounding the spine. Breathe. As you exhale, drop the knees back to the mat. Slide the hips back towards your heels. Child's pose. As you inhale again, come back to your tabletop. Press through the hands, round the spine, lift your knees about 1 inch. This time, come into your downward facing dog by continuing to lift the hips and then allowing the feet to flip. We want to have the hands shoulder width apart, middle finger pointing forward, feet about hips distance apart. If you need to bend the knees, there'll be a nice deep bend in the knees as the hips reach up and back. If it felt better to allow the legs to straighten, then do that. Slowly begin to walk your feet all the way up towards the front of the mat. Continuing this slow breath. And for a rag doll at the top of our mat, we're going to grab hold of our elbows. Again, a nice soft bend in the knees here, and maybe a little bit of movement, shifting the torso, the upper body just right and left. Soft knees, nice full breath. Come to center, release the elbows, and slowly rise, coming all the way up to standing. Sweeping the arms overhead until palms touch. Slide your hands in towards heart center. With an inhale, reach the arms all the way up overhead. And as you exhale, forward fold over your leg. Inhale, come into a flat back. Press your hands into your thighs. Think about making a number 7 shape with your body. Your spine flat, Now notice the movement of your breath here. Your rib cage expanding as you breathe in, contracting as you exhale. Exhale, fold over your legs, and then use your inhale to sweep all the way back up to standing, palms touch. Hands glide into heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way back overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale your flat back, hands press into thighs. This time as you exhale, plant the hands on the mat. Walk your feet all the way back to the back edge of the mat. A high push-up. To modify our chaturanga push-up, drop your knees towards your mat. Slide your chest forward so shoulders are over wrists. And exhale, drop the chest down toward the thumbs. Inhale a low cobra, lifting the chest just a couple inches. Shoulders roll back away from your ears. Full inhale. Exhale, fold back to the mat. Then inhale, come to your hands and your knees, your tabletop. Tuck your toes underneath you, round the spine to lift the hips, downward facing dog. Find your breath. A little softness in the knees here is okay. Nice, slow, full inhale and full exhale. Slowly begin to walk your feet all the way back to the front of the mat. Ragdoll, grab hold of your elbows. Shake the head in a yes and no. Just a couple times, releasing any tension through your neck. Sweep the arms all the way up to standing, palms touch. Hands glide into heart center. Another time, our Sun Salutation A. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale your flat back. Once more, plant the hands on the mat. Step the feet back to your high push-up. This time, if you'd like, keep the knees lifted as you drop the chest all the way down. Cobra once more, either stay low or this time press through the arms, lifting the chest a little higher. Exhale, fold back to the mat. Tuck your toes underneath you. Maybe you lift without dropping the knees into your downward facing dog. Full breath here, in and out.
Desperate wife, your desperate husband.
Slowly walk all the way up to the front of the mat.
No, you wouldn't.
Inhale your flat back, hands pressed to thighs. Exhale, forward fold.
But how far
Inhale, sweep all the way up to standing until palms touch. Hands glide into heart center.
a curse on you.
Once more, inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale your flat back. Now this time as you plant your hands, take either of the first two options, or as the feet come all the way to the back edge of the mat, lower only halfway, bending the elbows to 90. Upward facing dog, keep the thighs off the mat as you lift the chest. And downward facing dog, we'll lift the hips high.
Is emptier now, God, than it's ever been.
Begin to walk your feet all the way up to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back, hands press into thighs. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to standing. Allow palms to touch. Hands to glide into heart center. Now heel toe your feet together. Big toes touch. A little space between your heels, about 1 inch. Chair pose. Bend your knees and sweep your arms up overhead. Feel your belly engage. Draw in and up. Shoulders can soften down your back. Release the arms alongside the body and interlace them at your low back. You can keep a soft bend in your elbows. Over time, the elbows begin to straighten as you squeeze the shoulder blades together, opening through your chest and heart. Forward fold over your legs, keeping your hands bound. Feet can separate hips distance, and allow the arms just to get heavy. Continue to breathe. A little softness here in your knees if you need it.
Yes, Gideon,
Release the hands all the way to the mat and step just your left leg back. Drop the left knee all the way to the mat and inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. If it's wobbly here, heel toe your right foot a little to the right edge of the mat And then deepen into your hip crease on your right side by shifting your hips forward. Lift the chest for a little bit of a back bend, but go slow, let it be mellow, and breathe.
Now I can see.
To twist it out, drop the left hand all the way to your mat and reach your right hand up. Feel the right hip slide back just slightly to deepen into your twist, and continue to breathe. As you exhale, release the right hand down towards the mat. Slide your right leg back, tabletop, and into a child's pose, hips move back towards your heels. From your child's pose into a tabletop. Once more, allow the knees to hover about 1 inch from the mat, rounding the spine and engaging your core. Continue your breath, and as you exhale, back to a child's pose, send your hips towards your heels. Inhale, glide forward, tabletop. Allow knees to hover about 1 inch off the mat. Breathe. Exhale, release the knees to the mat, child's pose, hips back to heels. This time as you slide forward your tabletop, knees hover, come into your downward facing dog, lifting your hips and allowing the feet to flip over. A little softness in your knees. Find your breath and then walk the feet all the way up to the front of the mat. Coming into our chair pose, once again, bend your knees. Big toes touch, arms sweep up overhead. Engage your belly. Soften shoulders. Release the arms. Try to put the opposite finger on top this time as you interlace your hands and your low back. Squeeze your shoulders. Forward fold over your legs, heel toeing the feet, hips distance apart, and letting the arms just be heavy as they fall overhead, opening up your shoulders. And try to release the tension in your jaw and in your face. We'll plant the hands on the mat. This time step the right leg back. Drop your right knee all the way to the mat, and inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Once again, if it's wobbly, move the left foot a little to the left edge of your mat and then deepen into your hip crease. Shift hips forward, lift through the chest, a little back bend. As you exhale, twist. Drop the right hand to the mat. Left fingertips reach up. Slide the left hip back just a touch to deepen into your twist. And continue your breath, nice and even. Release left hand to the mat. Now this time, step your right foot up to meet the left at the front of the mat. Big toes touch, our chair pose, knees bend, arms sweep up overhead. We'll bring hands to touch at the heart center and begin a prayer twist, twisting towards the right side. Allow your left elbow to hook to the outside of the right knee. Press your palms together. Inhale, come back through center. And as you exhale, twist the opposite direction, twisting left. Allow your right elbow this time to hook to the outside of the left knee. Once more, palms pressed together. Continue to allow your breath to flow. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, take a forward fold over your legs. Widen the feet about hips distance apart. Soft knees, just take your arms and reach back for the backs of your legs, maybe holding onto the calves or right behind the knees. You can have a little softness to your knees. Perhaps you go deeper by starting to lift the hips a little bit higher. Nice, even breath. Plant your hands on the mat. Step your left leg back, a crescent warrior, our high lunge. Keep the left heel lifted. Fingertips will get light, and use an inhale, slide the hands straight back behind you, finding your balance. With an in-breath, sweep the arms up overhead, and see if you can deepen, bending a little bit more into your right knee directly over right ankle. Find your breath. Coming to a warrior two, allow the left heel just to pivot to the mat. We want heel to heel alignment, right toes pointing straight forward and left toes pointing off towards the side. Engage your belly, soft shoulders. Reverse your warrior, flip your right palm towards the ceiling. Allow the left hand to touch back just gently on the back thigh. Feel a side stretch from your hip through your armpit and all the way out to those right fingers. Come back to your warrior 2. Then exhale, release the hands to the mat. Step your right leg back. Chaturanga push-up, drop your chest towards the thumbs. Upward facing dog or cobra. And our downward facing dog will lift the hips towards the ceiling. Find your breath. Walk your feet all the way up to the front of the mat. And as you inhale, come into a flat back. Press your hands to your thighs. And as you exhale, forward fold. This time, yogi toe lock. Take pointer and middle finger and slide it between your big toe and your second toe, wrapping up the big toe. Elbows poke out towards the side and your head just hangs heavy. Now you might have a bend here in your knees, or you feel the hips slide up, deepening into your hamstrings. Release the hands to the mat. Step your right leg back. Our crescent warrior high lunge. Soft through the fingertips. And then slide the hands straight back behind you. Feel your belly engage and continue to breathe. Then sweep the arms all the way up overhead. A nice deep bend in our left knee. The right heel is lifted. We're pressing strong through the ball of the right foot. For a warrior 2, allow your right heel to pivot all the way down towards the mat. Deep bend in the left knee, with the left knee directly over our left ankle. Core is engaged, belly draws in and up. Soft breath. Reverse your warrior, flip your left palm towards the ceiling and allow your right hand to drop back towards your back thigh. Continue to breathe. Come back to your warrior 2. Allow the hands to plant all the way on the mat and step the left leg back. Chaturanga push-up, drop your chest towards your thumbs. Upward facing dog or cobra. And with an exhale, come all the way to your downward facing dog. Allow the hips to lift high and reach behind you. Come to a child's pose by allowing your knees to touch to the mat, sliding your hips back towards your heels, allowing your arms just to reach out in front of you.
Wait for the sheriff to bring some dirty water by. Help yourself out to some of my disaster. It's moving faster than the last time I was on speed. Don't you know what I mean?
Come into your downward facing dog by allowing the toes to tuck underneath you and lifting your hips up and back.
By definition, I could feel this page.
Slowly begin to walk the feet all the way up to the front of the mat. For a chair pose, allow your big toes to touch, knees to bend, and sweep your arms up overhead. Allow palms to touch and slide hands into heart center. Engage your belly and begin to shift your weight to your right foot. First, just lifting the left heel. Find your balance and then begin to lift the left foot away from the mat. Step the left foot back about 3 to 4 feet. Our Parshvottanasana, intense side stretch. Allow the right foot to heel toe a little to the right edge of your mat so your feet are about hips distance apart. And fold halfway, leveling out your chest with your mat. Draw length to your spine and either stay here or continue to fold deeper by softening the right knee and allowing the fingertips to touch down towards the mat. You can keep a bend in the right knee if you need. Over time, the right leg begins to straighten. Perhaps you deepen into your fold by softening your elbows and dropping the right shoulder closer to your right shin.
Just one more thing.
To come into a warrior 1, step your left foot back a couple inches. Keep left leg straight, a nice deep bend in your right knee. Right knee tracks directly above your right ankle. A little lift to your chest and softness to your shoulders. Coming into a warrior 2, allow the hips to open up towards the side. Heel toe your feet a little bit apart. Right toes forward, left toes straight off towards the side. Strong belly, soft shoulders. To come into a triangle pose, straighten right leg. Slide your right hand forward and then allow it to drop lightly down towards your right shin, coming either above or below the right knee. Left arm reaches straight up. Continue to breathe. Engage your core to lift back through center. Draw your hands to heart center as you bend the right knee. In one step, try to come all the way forward, bringing your left foot up to meet the right. Big toes touch, a chair pose. Knees bend, arms sweep up overhead. Palms touch, hands glide into heart center. Try this on the left side. Shifting your weight to your left foot, lift the right heel. Find your balance, then begin to lift right toes away from the mat. Stepping right foot back about 3 to 4 feet, our Parshvottanasana. Heel toeing left foot a little to the left edge of the mat to widen your foundation. Hinging at your hips, fold halfway. Level the chest out with the mat, engage your core. And either stay here or soften the left knee a little bit and allow the left fingers to touch all the way down towards the mat, the right hand touching down as well. Perhaps deepening into your fold by straightening the left leg a little bit. And tracking the left shoulder closer to your left shin. For a warrior one, soften your left knee and step the right foot back a couple inches. Arms sweep up overhead. And there's the nice deep bend in the left knee directly over left ankle. Chest lifts up and shoulders are soft. Warrior two, allow the hips to open towards the side. Heel toe your feet apart just a little bit more. Deep bend in the left knee, straight right leg. Belly is strong, and then our triangle pose, straighten left leg. Slide left hand forward. Allow it to fall down towards left shin. Right fingertips reaching straight up. Allow your neck just to be neutral here. A soft gaze, soft breath. Engage core to come back up. Slide hands to heart center and look forward. Softening your left knee, see if you can step the right foot all the way up to meet the left. At the front of the mat, feet hips distance apart. Close your eyes and find your breath. Then inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale your flat back, draw length to your spine, and then plant your hands. Step your feet back to the back edge of the mat. Chaturanga push-up, drop your chest towards your thumbs. Upward facing dog or cobra. And we'll come to our downward facing dog by tucking toes, lifting your hips up towards and behind you. Shift forward to a high plank, and then bend your knees, dropping your knees to the mat. Walk your hands back for a tabletop position, wrists, elbows, and shoulders in one line. And then our cat-cow, round your spine towards the ceiling. Drop your belly down towards the mat. Continue this motion a couple more times, rounding the spine and dropping the belly. Finding a little bit more mobility between each vertebrae as you continue with this motion. Find a neutral spine, and we'll come into our inchworm. Keeping the hips stationary right above the knees, begin to crawl your hands out in front of you. Now soften the elbows a little bit. Allow your fingers to touch and the elbows to poke towards the sides of the mat as you drop your head down towards the mat. Feel your shoulders soften. Maybe your heart drops a little bit closer towards the mat over the next couple of breaths. From here, allow your chest to lift up slightly. Come onto your forearms and lengthen the legs behind you for our Sphinx. Now for our Sphinx posture, we want the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. The hands can grip the mat just a little bit, and the chest slides forward as the shoulders slide down your back. Continue to breathe. And then once more, allow the fingers to touch, elbows to poke towards the edge of your mat, and your forehead can rest all the way down on your fingers. For a locust pose, begin to lift your legs as if they were one piece. Then lift your torso, keeping your forehead connected to your fingers. Long through your body, maybe you allow the big toes to touch straight back behind you. Continue to breathe. One more full inhale, find a little lift. Exhale, lower all the way down. Lift the chest again, coming back to our Sphinx with the elbows, the forearms on the mat, or this time choosing to go a little bit deeper and coming into your cobra, planting the hands underneath the shoulders and lifting the chest. Your choice to either stay on elbows or starting to straighten your elbows, lift your chest as you soften shoulders down your back. Exhale, lower all the way back to the mat and allow your ear just to rest on the mat. Arms come alongside the body and breathe.
So that we can stay true to the path that you have chosen.
Lifting once more, come back onto your forearms for your Sphinx, or make the choice to come into your cobra, going deeper by planting your hands more near the chest or the rib cage and lifting up. Let your breath continue to flow. Feel your shoulders slide down your back. Engage the belly just a little bit to protect the low back. Continue to breathe. Exhale, lower all the way back down to the mat. Press into your child's pose, coming to your hands and your knees, and then sliding your hips back towards your heels.
And feel the waves come crashing. Come crashing down.
You can walk the hands alongside the body and lift just your torso. We'll stay seated on our heels and begin a twist. Twisting towards the left side, bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Left fingertips can reach down towards the mat behind you. Feel a little lift in your chest as you inhale. Twist a little deeper with your next exhale. Then inhale, come back through center and switch sides, twisting towards the right as the left hand grabs for the right thigh. Right fingertips reach down behind you. Again, an inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come back through center. Plant the hands at the front of the mat. Tabletop. And into your downward facing dog, lift your hips high. From down dog, walk the feet to the front of the mat and come to a seated position. From seated, our Baddha Konasana, the soles of the feet will meet and the knees will fall off to the edges of the mat. Now sit up nice and tall here, planting the fingers lightly behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and lift your chest. Nice, full, deep breath. Begin to lengthen your legs out in front of you, keeping a deep bend in the knees. Draw the belly onto the thighs and allow your head to bow down. Now you can stay right here for your forward fold. If you want to go deeper into your hamstrings, slide your bum back just a little, straightening the legs. And continue this pattern, straightening the legs a little more with each breath till you find the right degree of stretch for your body. Forward folding over your legs. Nice deep breath. Inhale to lift, and exhale, slowly lower and come all the way down onto your backs. For a Supta Baddha Konasana, allow for a soft bend in the knees. The soles of the feet will meet. At this point, allow your eyes to close and remain closed for the rest of your practice.
My ship is coming in. I keep checking the horizon.
And to come into our final posture, allow the legs just to lengthen comfortably out towards the edges of the mat for Shavasana.
It's gonna happen soon, oh so very soon. It's just that time to leave.
Allow your breath to
And
deepen.
you say,
Small Gradually roll your body onto one
Let
side.
the light shine in.
The eyes might even stay closed as you rest
Don't
here.
you understand? I already have a plan, waiting for my
Coming back to a seated position, allow the legs to cross. Hands to come into heart center. And if you set an intention at the beginning of
On
your
a clear
practice,
day,
check back in with that intention
I
now.
can see a very long way. On a clear day, I can see.
Thank you so much for practicing with me today. And have an awesome day.
See a very long